Very good. All right, Al.
Tasty.
Sorry I didn't get to warm up.
It's okay. Hey, folks, welcome to the podcast. It's Two Lonely Boys in a Canoe. Hey, Trevor, how you feeling there? I feel like you disappointed yourself.
Well, I didn't get a fucking chance to warm up. It's the second game home. It's like, cook dinner. Get podcast.
Are you telling me that life doesn't care about what you got planned and it just throws you good activities?
I've had no time to do anything.
Oh, Trevor, come on. You're a time cop. You know you got time. Well,
So people, I need more time to practice, people.
He needs 28 hours in a day, folks. If you got an extra 4 hours,
need
please
extra
give
time.
Trevor some time.
Matt, I'm not a bag of tourists. Just haven't had a chance to.
Why don't you introduce our guest, Trevor?
All right, so we have Matt. Not sure of your last name.
Oh, I am the law.
Matt, insert last name here.
You don't have to put your last name. It's fine. But we have Chris Leahy. Don't say my full name.
Oh, man.
But we have Matt here. He's definitely a friend of a friend Gerald, and he's so far met him. Pretty cool dude from Maine that's visiting.
He hasn't committed any murders yet, you know?
I know of.
No.
If he has, he's been very subtle about it, which I
Yes,
appreciate.
exactly. Oh, man. So how's your day, man?
My day.
Trevor, Matt, anybody?
Matt, go
Oh,
ahead.
our days were great.
There you
Oh,
go.
he worked. I just sat around
Nice.
He's been a traveling man.
thinking about my dad because he just got some surgery done. But
Okay, what kind of surgery?
they removed a small peanut-sized tumor from near his brain. But
Yeah.
I guess
Mm.
it was near his skin, so it wasn't that far in.
Sure.
So yeah, it went successful, but he's all high now. Like, when I talked to him on the
Yeah.
phone, and he's totally.
Hey, that's jaywalking.
Get him! Get him!
He's totally ripped.
Woo!
Are they listening to us?
I guess everybody's listening to
I love it.
No, it was totally ripped.
All right, everyone, we have some.
yeah.
The alleyway has joined the podcast. Some alleyway ambience going on.
Just like
Jaywalking.
No worries.
So, we've talked about before. We have an alleyway in the street where stuff is always going
What's going on?
Always.
We
So
have a
it's
very
center of
busy,
town.
We have a very busy.
Yeah.
couple of
It might be
Yeah.
quiet right now. I promise you in 2 hours there will be a man. There will be a man with no shirt on screaming and running into trash cans. It happens.
Sounds about right.
Yes. Once I start, I don't stop. Once I stop, I don't start. I mean, woo! Trash can. Yeah.
We tend to spend a lot of times finding out who our crazy neighbors are.
Usually they're just running around, hanging out. Yeah, it's interesting
Eugene is a fun place to live at times,
at times.
but it also has its characters, just like any place.
Good.
Yeah.
We definitely live in
Diversity's, the spice of life. man.
we live in the most diverse, spiciest part of the city, being downtown. So, and the college right there.
It's definitely.
And a lot of the people on the streets come here to take the cans from all the college students. So I have seen people fight over bags of cans before. So
Yeah.
cans are a hot commodity
They're
here.
a can-do. They're a can-do venture.
Yeah, the can hustlers. I heard them call themselves the can hustlers.
It was weird because at a point in time that was that was such a thing for I guess younger kids to do, and now it's become such an enterprise because I guess recycling has gotten more more beneficial.
But I mean, the prices of metal keep going up. So
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. We're just gonna turn our. It's weird how Japan does recycling. Have you ever seen how Japan does recycling?
no, how do they do recycling?
really, like, it's against the law to mix your garbage. Like, they find people left and right.
It's Japan, though.
So they
don't
make
fuck
it
around.
so that, you know, it's more beneficial if you do recycle than if you wouldn't. In America, it doesn't matter either way, I think, though. I guess people just choose, you know, if they want to or not.
I know also, like, littering, from what I hear, Japan, littering is not a thing.
Dude, that's what I mean. Like, it's a cultural thing.
Like, you will be beaten up. It's not like America where there'll be guys leaving just piles of trash here. Where, like, you will be beaten up if you leave piles of trash and they find you and you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like, even Yakuza's back in the day used to help keep, literally keep the streets clean, as far as, like, they used to go around and just fuck up guys that were littering everywhere.
Yeah.
So, like, we need our gangs to help keep littering down.
Is that what you
Yes,
believe?
that's
we
what I'm
need
fucking-
to turn
yes.
the street crime into landfill
Yes.
crime.
Oh, you're leaving trash everywhere? Well, I guess your head is going through a post right now. Ah! Well, maybe just like a spanking and have
There's a lot
terrible.
to credit Japan for. There's a lot of things. Like tattooing.
Tattooing has gotten pretty
That's
crazy.
where
I actually have an interesting topic
South
I wanted to
America.
talk about
Yeah,
today.
South America and
about
Japan.
Japan. Speaking of
But that's
news.
the origins of tattooing.
Well, hold on a second though. What about the Maoris have been doing it?
Japan, yeah.
I don't know. I might have to contest that because the Maoris have been doing their own traditional, and like the Aborigine have been doing tattoos.
Right, no, but the
For-
tattoo thing that we know about.
Yes,
Exactly.
the tattoo.
The ink, all the ink stuff, that's from Japan.
Yes, and like the
henna
tattoo gun.
and all that other stuff, that's another.
Yeah,
That's
and
India. India has it, and then I know in like the
other
more
Middle Eastern places.
and also like the Pacific Islanders, they have their way, but their way is hardcore because it's literally a needle. It's a stick that just pounds into your skin, and I know I've seen a documentary where the traditional like Maori tattoos, they're bleeding by the end of the process because it's literally a stick, the sharp stick beating the fuck out of your skin for hours.
Tattoos used to have more meaning too, I think.
Yeah, like
Tattoos have less meaning these days.
way less meaning because so
You got
many
some
were
kid
good.
that wants like Chinese lettering.
That
Yeah.
yeah, they're like it means that means
Good
it means
fortune.
honor that or mean like having honor, but it really means
it means number 7 on the menu.
yeah, or it means stinky butthole. So
Ooh.
Yes.
I guess
No, I'm glad to be here today. The podcast got put off yesterday because I was exhausted. I went ahead and went to the lake yesterday and laid around and did a little relaxing. It was nice to get out of town for a little bit. You know, not that I don't love hearing people yell in the alleyways and
car alarms
constant
going
car
off
alarms. You know,
all the time.
you pick and choose your battles. But no, the weather's been great this last week or so. Really good.
We should talk about your adventure Tuesday night right across the street with the old mushrooms. Mm-hmm. Chris decided to party a little too hard.
So what was it? Tuesday night?
It was Tuesday night. Yeah, when I showed up, when I showed up and ate pasta salad like a maniac.
I was coming home from work after working out in the sun for like 4 days, and decided I wanted to do some mushrooms. I didn't even take that much. It was like 2 to 3 grams. But what ended up happening was I sat there and was dehydrated as hell. Took the mushrooms, started to smoke a little weed, and then my anxiety started to kick in because I was starting to trip. And to calm my anxiety, I started smoking more weed. Something I learned though recently is
Anxiety and psychedelics. That's
Yeah.
where bad trips come from.
exactly, dude. That's where they begin.
Don't mix them.
I've had them too.
Plan
and
on
it's like-
having a good positive time.
Exactly.
I've had that too where I'm tripping. They're
think-
like, hey, Trevor, do a bunch of shit right now that's stressful.
Well, I think what happened was I didn't plan it properly, and usually when I plan a trip, I do way better. But it was kind of rushed, and so I wasn't completely in the right space.
Yeah.
But when I started to smoke to calm my anxiety, it didn't help. It just heightened it. And so something I learned about cannabis, obviously, is it lowers your blood pressure when you smoke usually. Mushrooms, on the
Yeah.
other hand, increase your blood pressure. So
Yeah.
it's very common sometimes for people to sit there and smoke weed and trip and then pass out a little bit. I fainted like a goat a couple times. and it's just the cannabis fighting the mushrooms inside your body.
Yeah, I at one point turned you over real quick, gave you the buckets so you wouldn't choke on your vomit.
Well, it wasn't even like I was puking. It was just my body said, yeah, you're trying to do two things at once, and we're not going to let you. And you're done. Just fall over.
Yeah, I just didn't want you to choke, though.
But has the potency of cannabis gotten stronger than the potency of mushrooms?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
That might have something to do with
I think they are pushing the boundaries because, I mean...
both, you know.
I think of both, because mushrooms just became legalized in the state like this year. So there's a huge market right now. I mean, we just had the green rush. Now we have what we call the mushroom or the brown rush, whatever the fuck they want to call it. But now they're pretty much
psychedelic movement.
Yeah, there's a whole new market that's been opened up of people that are trying to legally grow and sell commercially mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms, which just started.
Just seems like not on purpose, but because of cross pollination.
Yeah.
It's actually the cannabis just gets stronger and stronger, whether you're trying to make it stronger or not.
Exactly.
Whether you're trying it on purpose or not.
Crossbreeding has changed the game so much. Where you used to have these grandfather or grandmother strains, strains, and you have like basics, like Blue Dream and shit,
Blue Dream, Kush,
Green Crack. But now it's just there's so many hybrids and there's so many crosses out there. Potency is where everybody wants. They want super high THC levels, super high CBD levels. But I think when you're growing a really good plant, you need base flavors. You need really good terpene profiles. And that's something I think that we forget about.
Chris is not a fan of mixing his base flavors together.
I'm not a fan
weed and Neapolitan.
I'm not a fan of people going, I want the highest percentage THC just because I'm trying to get blitz. I want somebody to appreciate, the time it took to grow that plant.
There's a point where, you smoke it and you look down and you're like, where the fuck are my pants? Why am I in the water? Why am I wearing
I've never had that
hat?
issue, but maybe everybody's a little different.
I have been fucked up enough. I look down and where's my pants? It happens.
Let's zoom out a little bit and just look at the realm of agriculture.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
The two things that have been, mostly, cross-pollinated is probably wine grapes and cannabis. Those are the two things.
Wine grapes, interesting too.
Have been
I've also heard
of GMO, whatever you want to call it.
I've also heard
manipulated.
I've also heard of all the hops.
Other than any other kind of any other plant.
I've also heard the hops because there's a lot of there's a lot of hops grown for all the microbrews out here. A lot of the hops are crossbreeding.
Right.
Weed plants and the wine.
But it's just sometimes you get problems. Sometimes your body doesn't agree with it.
Genetics play a huge part in how your body will take in certain things, especially THC and CBD.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, and I personally have always had a better time with with certain crosses small amounts of THC and a higher amount of CBD,
right?
Like a 3% and a 7 to 8%.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it just gets a little bit of both worlds.
Yeah.
I like to do salad mixes sometimes. I'll do some CBD and THC, but I think that it's gotten lost in the market where people just want the biggest and best always. Not even realizing there's a middle. There's a lower shelf, obviously. All right.
But it's just, I guess the only thing I wanted to add was just somehow, sometimes you get people that'll, in the health world, or what you should eat, they'd say, you should eat, plants and food that are native to, where you live.
Yes, regional.
Right, yeah, regional, so, cannabis...
The
way it is it didn't come from the United States in any way, shape,
hills
or
of
form.
Afghanistan and fucking Asia
and Africa.
Yeah. So
it's not exactly native to North America.
It would be silly to think that
Maine did not have
same with food would make the same.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point because
bananas, strawberries.
A lot of people are transplants too. I wonder how local things affect people that are from different states and
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that your body might not always agree with it.
No, of course. It gives you a different look.
Like I
and
love
perspective.
avocados, but
Yep.
I've lived up in the Northeast most of my life.
Yeah.
But avocados don't fucking grow in New England. Like,
New England, yeah.
But they're good for you,
Of
and they're
course. Yeah, I lived in South Florida. So we had an avocado tree in my backyard when I was growing up. And nobody ever ate them until my dad remarried. And my stepmom loved avocados. So I'd have to get a ton of those things down.
Those are good.
But
though.
I guess that's what things like greenhouses is like.
Yeah, greenhouses
Like, it's
because
not so,
Yes.
artificial is growing inside. It's like
Meeting
you're
somewhere in the
stealing
middle.
light,
Yeah.
like that isn't normal for that area. But
Yeah.
like
But even like research stations up in the Arctic and Antarctic, they have greenhouses where they're testing to see, well,
Right.
how can we grow these potatoes or these things
Right.
if we're in a hostile environment so that if we ever do go to Mars, we can make greenhouses in these stations.
Well, they've already grown like lettuce and small basic crops in space. So
Yeah,
it's
they have.
possible.
right,
Which I think is pretty cool, growing
like
crops.
terraforming, like
Yeah.
space stations.
That's why we're doing all this Mars stuff. We're trying
Right.
to get to Mars to do some planting.
We're trying to fuck up
Yeah.
Mars, obviously.
We gotta
That's our
spread
next
the
stop.
seed and keep the species going.
I think we're a virus, so we need to honestly,
that's
we need
the
to stop
only
it.
thing. You can't inhabit Mars. That's the only option you have is terraforming.
Exactly.
There
You
is
would
no
ha-
other option. It's not
You
a
have
habitable.
to build the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's not a habitable ecosystem.
And build it-
in any way.
Can you imagine though the
Right.
sheer like the immensity of building atmosphere? Like that would be such
Well,
a crazy
I think for
project.
generations, it'll have to be like dome living. You'll have to be inside
And
not
eventually,
exposed.
you're right. Terraforming would take a long time.
It would take generations, but eventually, enough, sustainability would probably give you less and less need for it. But again, changing a planet.
There's a movie called Silent Running or something about that from the 70s.
Okay.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Well, I also seen The Martian
It's like the
with
what
Matt
was that
Damon.
new movie about climate change? Don't Look Up or whatever.
Oh.
Maybe.
It was like the 70s version of that.
Yeah.
No, I mean just saying in the sense of environmental movies that are like kind of
Yeah.
meant to be funny, but to like try
Have a
to
good
The
point.
day
like
after tomorrow.
educate people who
Yeah.
are like closed-minded to like dealing with the environmental issue.
And then you have movies like
Hey, the Earth's
Biodome.
flat, bud.
Biodome.
The Earth's
What's
flat.
This guy. And then you have movies like Biodome with Pauly Shore where they talk about biodoming. But then,
Biodome.
I love that fucking movie. But then Pauly Shore just runs amok and just does a
Pauly
bunch of shit.
Shore.
There's a.
I heard he's just a straight crackhead, but
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
love-
if-
Andy
I don't know
Dick
if
is
that's
doing
true or not,
terrible.
but
I love
that's
Pauly Shore though.
something I
have
heard a
seen
long
all this.
time ago.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I don't like him.
Sure.
I'm just saying this is something someone else said.
Yeah.
It's just
Andy
Andy Dick is doing
if
rough.
it's not true, please tell me it's not. I don't know.
I've never met Pauly Shore, but if I was gonna spend a weekend with somebody, it definitely wouldn't be Pauly Shore.
I would meet him for a
There'd
meal.
be so many other people.
I would meet him for a meal.
So
Would you meet?
it
Would you
might
meet
just
Pauly
be
Shore?
like somebody that didn't like him said
possible.
spread some.
Would you
rumor.
like have a lunch with him? That'd be good.
Yeah, I'd have a lunch.
Hey, have some
I'd lunch
tacos
and
with Pauly
coffee.
Shore.
Yeah, coffee. But yeah, he's a dude that was famous in the '90s for being, ridiculous, and I think that it happens to all of the young guys that are being ridiculous in their age. They age out of it, you know. Bam Margera is a perfect example.
Hey, there's one man though that still aged and did it gracefully.
He was an MTV.
Hugh
host,
Hefner.
right?
Also, Rodney fucking Dangerfield.
He was on MTV. Rodney Dangerfield. He didn't age gracefully.
No, but he still partied like an animal.
Yeah, I guess. It's like saying Elvis aged gracefully. He aged gracefully into that young girl. God, man. Such a weird thing.
Hey, Florida Nights. No, Florida Days, Georgia Nights.
You're messing it up.
Sorry, I'm high.
Where are your topics at, man?
I've been waiting for you guys to stop.
Topics.
I've been-
Supposed to talk about a certain thing. Or
Yeah, he usually has his topics.
I've been waiting, but you
Kinda
guys,
like the whole point of
you
having
two
me
kept
here.
talking. I barely
You
get
wanted
a
me
word
to
in.
talk about.
We're trying to have a
something, right?
conversation, Trevor. You're screwing up.
You wanted me to talk about cannabis or something, or how I grow, or what I grow, and
Cannabis.
where I grow it. And
Let me do my quick
On the
bullshit.
planet.
Let me do
on
my
planet
quick.
Earth.
We'll do my quick.
Where? Yeah, let you talk, and I'll.
It's in the ground.
You guys are both mean. Why are you teaming up on me? This is not a thing. Not a thing.
No, that's not what it was.
All right, you're good. All right, so for quick local news, it's been hot, motherfuckers. It's been warm.
Yeah.
It's been hotter and hot. Old shirtless men running around being crazy. Just the streets are going wild. Just dogs and cats. No, it's been warm.
Cats and dogs? Is
All
it
the
raining
things.
cats and dogs, or is it sunning
It's
cats
more
and
like
dogs?
sunning cats and dogs.
Oh, shit.
What? Logs and bats?
Logs
Yes.
and bats?
You
Bats
might
and
as
logs?
well be walking on the sun. But yeah, it's been warm.
Yeah, man.
But that
One
could mean
week
two
since you looked
things,
at me.
like bats, vampire bats, or baseball bats. What kind of bats?
I'm
we
talking-
We're talking
You gotta,
the
this
Warriors.
is important. You
We're
gotta,
talking the Warriors. There's a bunch of guys with bats
Yes.
trying to come after you and beat you up
They'll
because
dress-
you're in their turf.
They're all dressed as like
Warriors come
farmers
out and
and
play.
baseball players. Yes. Or also, I mean, like
We're the
aqua.
orphans.
Yes. Also, like the Aquabats, like the old ska '90s band. That's what I mean.
Whatever.
but this is the infancy of the podcast, so you have to like, keep it interesting.
All right.
We have to like come up with some shit so people will want to keep listening to it.
Trevor,
right?
he's trying his best. But
I
he's
know.
failing terribly.
I'm trying.
It's okay. Do your thing.
It's a goddamn conspiracy between you two. This is not a thing.
Okay.
So it's the World Athletics Championships. So that's going on right now.
Yeah, we got all these female runners coming to kick ass in Oregon.
So the good thing is
Yay.
you have a lot of skinny chicks. The bad thing is if you try to chase them, they can run really fast because that's what they do. Is they run.
Why would you do
Why would
that?
you be trying to chase them? Is
I
the
mean,
question.
if
I
you
suppose.
need to you see a few cute ones and you have a net, and you have some duct tape and chloroform.
Trevor,
I'm kidding,
Trevor,
folks.
you're going too hard.
No.
Let's just say that.
I'm kidding. Never do those.
cut to
Never
the
do those
chase, it's
things.
Like,
Oh, you can't cut to the chase. 'Cause they'll
Males-
just keep running.
people with sperm, they need to take more responsibility with what they do with their sperm.
Yeah, man, don't go leaving
I-
your DNA everywhere, motherfucker.
People that are sperm capable.
Yeah, exactly. You got
Let's
to be careful
let's
with that
be
precious
PC
equipment.
Let's be PC here. People that are sperm capable, it doesn't matter what shape or size or form or whatever they're in,
Watch
they need to take more responsibility, especially with the
runners.
The feeling in the room right now,
With
as
the
far
runners
as like
running
trying
away.
to mess with people that are on the other side of the fence that have the, the other part of the.
I was making a bad joke.
Yeah.
I love that you're
Birth
so.
making and all that.
I love that
problem,
you're just giving up on your topic.
No. All right, fuck you, Matt. This is not happening.
Well, no, you can't ignore that.
Nope. All right, made your point.
Right.
So yeah,
All right.
people they be running. Oregon's Kemba Nelson flashing the
They
O,
be running.
doing these things. Hayward Field. It's the last day of the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. That was from a few months ago, but that runner also ran at this thing. So,
All right, cool.
Also, the fun things I want to talk about now. We got the.
Beep, 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 beep. It's time
So,
to
the ash trees of Oregon are being targeted by the motherfucking emerald ash borer. And it came over here, and it came originally in 2002 to America from Asia. And it's been eating up ashes throughout the entire country. And ash trees are useful for environmental reasons, but also we use them for cabinets.
So why should we care, Trevor?
Because
why should we be upset?
they like water and they help keep river areas cool. So there's a lot of places where you have rivers and a lot of fish and people and other
ecosystem.
things. They need cool parts of the river, and ash trees one of those trees like willows that provide cover for it. So if all these trees are dying off, the rivers
beetle
are going to
bugs
get hotter, and it's just going to
So
fuck
it's
up the
another
environment.
problem for the ecosystem.
Another problem for the ecosystem, and this thing is spreading.
What if you
And
write your
so far they
congressman,
haven't. So far they don't really know how to stop it because this emerald ash borer.
Trevor? Is it an invasive species?
It's invasive as fuck. It's from Asia.
It's so invasive.
So
it's
invasive.
as fuck.
Invasive. Here's a picture of the little fucker right there. He's on a penny.
He's adorable.
No, fuck that thing.
You know bugs. They be bugging.
Yep. ash
Girls, they be running.
They-
Bugs, they be bugging.
I feel a Jim Croce song coming on.
Oh, that's good.
There's a lot of those type of beetles. They're like
Throw
boring
some
beetles
facts.
in the middle of the country as well. They take out a lot of trees.
They
along
do.
the Appalachian,
And they don't talk about them a lot because it's like, oh, it's trees. We're always having trees.
Well,
like,
unfortunately, there's not a ton of money in.
there should be.
There should be. There's not a ton of money in fucking Forestry.
I know because when
Depends what country you're in.
Country is true.
America cares just enough to get as much timber as it can, but there are countries that do better jobs. Like Scandinavia, they do a really good job. North Korea, surprisingly, did a really good job of after the war. It literally at gunpoint forced all of its people to just plant all these trees that got blown up from the war. They're like,
so what are you
hey,
saying,
if you don't plant these, family dead. So they just planted a massive number because there's.
So your idea is to point guns at people and make them plant plants.
I just saying more for community service. They should have to do that.
So they should be eating these beetles.
Eating these beetles and planting these trees.
That's a real thing here that people are finding when they have bug problems. Is turning them into food. That's a really interesting one.
And that is a good idea because we have more insects that are going to keep showing up.
We need to find better ways
Grasshoppers.
to eat. Fucking meat isn't sustainable at all.
Yeah.
That's getting ridiculous. We got farms for farms.
That's why they've been talking about how insects, that's a pretty reasonable way. And like Asia, they've been doing it forever. Other parts of the world, they do it.
I think it's a cultural difference thing. And in certain parts of the world, eating bugs is normal as fuck. And over here, eating bugs is considered taboo.
Yeah, it's for some stupid reason.
Because it's a bug.
Yeah, I've eaten bugs.
Everybody eats bugs.
Americans eat mostly vegan animals.
Yeah, exactly.
They eat vegan animals because the animals that they eat. I don't know. It's just I wouldn't just say it was America, but generally we're speaking. That's who we're speaking about right now. Is that unless you start eating grizzly bears and sharks, you're eating animals that eat plants, and that's where they're getting their protein.
Yeah, they're herbivores mostly.
And I'm just being scientifical about it. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I don't care if you eat meat or not.
Are you vegetarian?
I'm a vegetarian.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Vegetarian.
Sometimes I'm gonna be honest though. Sometimes I fuck up if people give me a gift and I don't want people to waste food. That's and I don't care. I don't want to get caught up in terminology.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Because even times I'm like vegan or alkaline diet or even
there's so many options too nowadays. Like there's so many different foods and
it is a little confusing how many different diets there are.
And then there's like the Candida diet, which is like if you get a yeast problem, then you start avoiding all these foods that are like
heavier yeast
like
and
fungus and molds and yeast, like
based
the shit that like causes infections in your body, like that seem to be very related to like cancer. It's like a lot of the things that cancer doesn't like as far as foods go. Yeah, like that diet is based
good.
On that.
Yeah,
like infections and those things. There's been research.
There's
about, scientists.
There's a
finding
dude that,
cancer and mold and like yeast infections in the same exact
bacterium
place, like after autopsies and things like that.
Exactly.
It's just something I found on the internet somewhere.
The internet.
No, but it seemed to make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean I'm not stating anything.
I didn't know you were a scientist.
I'm not stating anything as fact. I'm just saying
this man's got a beaker.
For the most part, it makes sense.
Yeah,
she blinded me with
because
science.
I don't want to go on the record as like spreading lies.
You're on the record. We're live.
This is the Joe Rogan show. Like something else.
Joe Rogan's show is so ridiculous. Though.
It is
like,
crazy.
If you ever watch his podcast, it's the weirdest shit. He doesn't say much of anything. He just like agrees or he disagrees with the guest, and then every once in a while
he asks a question.
He'll tell like a weird story real quick.
Yeah, or then he'll ask the question. But he should be like Wolf Blitzer, the fucking moderator for the election. Like, all right, we're gonna have John McCain over here, and then we're gonna have Bernie Sanders. Let's go, and it'll be fun.
People always want to pick a political side and shit. And
they do.
Stamp a stamp some shit. I just want people to be transparent, man. Just believe what you believe and try not to be a dick.
I wish other people
That's
do
what
that.
most people want.
I think so, you know.
Just people to mind their own business and
Yeah.
be okay with
don't cause
people
shit.
doing whatever they want to do as long as it doesn't hurt other people.
And I think in the media a lot, they get a lot of these people like riled the fuck up over
They want to do that.
politics.
They
and,
want to
yeah,
keep people separated.
exactly.
That's-
Create a divide.
That's the huge issue I have with the media too, because I agree.
That's tribalism. That's
Yeah.
not even. It's like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
And
if
it's
we
not
can't
even-
divide them by race and shape and color,
Divide and conquer.
we'll divide them by like what town they live in.
Yeah, class.
It's like, we don't like you because you're from Washington.
Exactly.
'Cause
You're
we're
from
from
Seattle.
Oregon.
Fuck you.
Right, we're from Oregon. We don't like you, or the vice versa. They do the same shit. The Seattle,
Everybody just
Yeah.
needs somebody
They-
to hate.
but
I
that's
think.
kinda
You know,
like-
they need an enemy.
part of the
Always.
game, right?
Yeah.
Like let's sell weapons to the people that are enemies with
Yeah,
each
of
other.
course. You know, we won't get
Did you ever
involved.
see
but we'll-
Lawrence of Arabia? That's pretty
Yes.
much what that's about. It's like,
Yeah.
let's sell the two different tribes money,
Yeah.
like guns, I
Yep.
mean weapons and stuff, so they can kill each other, so we don't have to.
Exactly. It's supplying your enemies so that they take care
and
of
that
each other.
works on like a big
A
scale,
larger scale. Yeah.
right?
And it's like geopolitical politics, man.
Right.
There's so many people that have issues with other people. It's really easy for somebody else to step in the middle and be like, well, we're not going to get involved, but we will sell you the
Right.
guns to fuel your war.
Somehow, ironically, the Roman Colosseum is like like an analogy to it all.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get the lion to fight the snake
Yes.
person.
I always think it's
Right?
awesome.
And then we win money.
Yeah.
We win the money.
I always think it's awesome too in the Coliseum, like the people would get so rowdy over somebody getting murdered.
right.
Like, just watching somebody die fighting to the death. And it's because like people got bored and people wanted to see action and people wanted to see blood.
Right.
And that it plays out in a lot of different fathoms today where you have like the NFL and UFC and people want to see people get hurt. Yeah, they don't want to see, the dude that's feeding the homeless. It's so ridiculous. That dude Dana White sucks.
He does. It sucks
He's a
because
bad human.
I like MMA, but I see the bullshit he does, and
There's
it's
too much politics.
too much politics, and it's like
It
why
happens
why
to
is it
every
that
sport.
why is it that only like the favorites get all this crazy amount of money, but their guys doing just as well, or still doing pretty well that barely no one hears about until they make it big. You just and they get their bodies beaten up. They're not even getting like proper health care, and it's crazy because their job is to beat the fuck out of other people that train all day to get really good at fucking up other people.
I mean, the longevity of being a fighter is not there for most people.
It's
unless
rough.
you rise to the top, and like getting there is going to beat you up anyways. And then you got to sustain that.
It's gladiator shit.
Yeah, but it's stupid because how are you expected to do that into your 40s?
You can't.
You can't do it. Anywho, we're rambling. Trevor, what else we got?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. We're doing all right.
No, we're doing good. Also,
I'm glad you're here, man. This has been good, man.
it's been good, man.
Huh? Oh yeah.
So apparently Matt thinks it's funny to fuck with me, which is fine.
It is
Oh, I
funny to
wasn't
fuck with you from
fucking
time to
with you, man.
time.
What are you talking about?
Dude, I got brown eyes. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. Come on, man.
Unless you're really good at bullshit.
And I'm pretty good at
There's a lot of
bullshitting.
very intelligent people with brown eyes that wouldn't
Oh.
Oh!
constitute that with being not smart or inferior in any way.
Trevor, your
Yes.
eye color doesn't mean shit.
I know. Telling a bad joke. Fuck both
You
of you.
brown colored motherfucker.
So in Japan, a court in Tokyo went ahead and decided to get four top executives from the nuclear power plant when the Tokushima thing happened, and they're getting
Tokushima. You mean Yakinoshi?
God damn it. Fukushima. I'm sorry. I apologize. The Fukushima incident, which was a 9.0 earthquake that happened caused a giant tsunami, and it fucked up.
What you telling me,
And it
man?
fucked
That
up
the
each
Earth
part.
doesn't give a fuck about our nuclear power plants?
It does not.
Yeah, well.
And neither did those top executives, and they didn't do a lot of... Kind of like when you talked about Spill, they didn't want to spend the money to do it extra safety, like... Hey, let's make watertight rooms for the actual reactors.
In comparison, though, in Spill, there were small repairs that could have been made. This was a fucking tsunami as well.
Yeah,
that's
it was
a natural
bad
disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a kind of hard thing to,
it was also,
to prepare for.
That's
and
another thing
predict.
is, yeah, they talked about it's a 9-point earthquake.
It was one of the largest in the world.
Yeah, they got fucked.
But here's another fucking crazy Japan thing. One of the old ambassadors or whatever it was, he got shot. The homemade shotgun.
Was he killed?
Yeah.
What?
Some dude went up to him with a homemade shotgun and blew like some old emperor or ambassador away. He was like the president of Japan a few years back, like 7 years ago.
So he was a
6 years
former
ago.
president.
Something like that, yeah. But he was at some rally or some political event, and some dude ran up to him in the crowd and just blew him away with a homemade shotgun. How crazy is that? Like, it don't matter what kind of weapons you get rid of. We'll find a way to kill a person.
That is crazy.
Yeah. From Japan's recycling to its homemade shotgun.
Dude, we were talking about Japan.
Let's go to
quite a bit.
Japan, guys.
Yeah. We're turning Japanese, and don't think so.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo. Domo. We're going to go sing karaoke. Chase down Fast and Furious people.
So yeah, this is the Japan episode, everybody.
I guess.
Japan episode.
I think we're turning Japanese.
Turning Japanese. That's the name of the episode. Figure it out.
Maybe.
Like the Skanking Pickle song.
What else we got on the old agenda, Trevor?
Let's see. We had a whole discussion about the health. Oh, fucking movie review. Let's go.
Movie review. All right. I watched a few movies recently.
Which one did you like or hate enough that you want to talk about it?
I liked
The worst or the best? I
Okay,
kind of want you to say the
this one
worst.
was in the middle, so I'll go ahead and do this one. Appaloosa.
Yes.
Yeah, Appaloosa wasn't bad. It had I forget the actors' names, but it had two really great actors. One of the dudes was from G.I. Jane. He played the Master Chief. And the other guy was the coach from Radio, that movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. Really cool movie. It was about two guys who were lawmen that rode into a town and were basically going to take the town over and become the new lawmen. What ends up happening is a girl comes off the train and kind of becomes the love interest of the main character. And unfortunately, she's kind of a slut. She's a pretty girl, but she comes on to his best friend, and there's a lot of like red flags. But I think in love, a lot of the times, people are kind of blind to the bad things immediately. They don't want to believe them, and they kind of look the other way, I think, to justify. Some people are immediately like, that's wrong. Yeah. But what ends up happening in the movie is they get into it with like a local gang. There's a few shootouts. They end up stealing the girl at a point, and when they're going to get her back, they find her just fucking screwing around with like the lead bad guy, basically. So she's just going with whoever's in power at that point, you know, power dynamic, I suppose. They run back into town, and they bring the girl and they bring the guys. They were trying to hang this one guy, but something happens where he gets pardoned, basically. He becomes a really affluent businessman in the town, and the sheriff basically just has to eat it while he runs off and fucks his girl and, you know, all this stuff. Towards the end of the movie, his best friend decides to turn in his badge, and he challenges the main bad dude to a duel outside, and he was a really quick draw, but the other guy got the upper hand on him, shot the bad guy, and he rode off, and it kind of left the opportunity for the girl and the sheriff to get back together. It was a pretty interesting movie. I liked a lot of parts of it. I don't really get into westerns that much, but this one was not bad. Maybe 7 out of 10 horses.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 horses.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 horses. What the hell happened?
Couldn't get open.
Trevor was like, here, give me that. I'll open it for you.
Also, I'm high. I didn't want to use the knife. I'm like, no, I'm trying to cut myself.
You imagine Trevor's just slicing his hand wide open while we're doing a podcast?
That's why I was like, no, put it down. You're high. But,
Lord.
I have a pair of pliers we could use. That'd be safe.
You're not safe, Trevor. Life's not safe.
I know. Go ahead, though. I'll come back. I'll do my elbow.
All right. So how long have you been in Eugene for, Matt?
5 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I got back from Bend the other day.
Yeah. Are you going to be going back to Bend?
No.
Nah. He's like, no. No way. If you folks don't know, Bend, Oregon is not the place to be.
It's just expensive.
No, it's not.
It's expensive.
All right,
Yeah.
Chris.
Like, unless you know somebody that lives there.
I don't want you to fuck up. The
Yeah,
stairs.
probably like being April crash with somebody or something.
Right.
We are trying to open. All right, folks, I got to explain what's going on. We've been trying to open an edible container for like 10 minutes
I've
now.
always been able to open them.
But these are
this
kind of
one-
difficult to open sometimes.
It is ridiculous.
They're made of metal, which is kind of cool.
And I'm a metal
But
worker. That's why I'm annoyed.
It's
I
very,
fuck with metal all
it's very
day.
funny watching Trevor be so frustrated. I was just kind of bullshitting with it as I was podcasting, so I don't
I'm
know.
about
It
to
didn't
just-
bother me as much. But he is frustrated. It's hilarious. Look at him go. Go, Trevor, go.
All right, fuck that. This is my elbow.
You know what would be really good? Some heat.
Oh, with it. Stuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, no metal. That would probably work.
Or a lubrication.
Yeah.
Or oil all over that motherfucker. Or in the cracks.
And the cracks in the crevices.
Or oil in the cracks. Oh.
What?
Alright. So we have stupid ads, folks. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm not a millionaire. Sorry, I have
Are you
ads.
talking about millionaire?
So, we're supposed to talk about
We're talking about an album.
growing weed or something.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Trevor's working through his little album review real fast, and I'm gonna pop onto that.
I just have stupid ads that will not leave me alone.
Trevor doesn't believe in YouTube Premium.
Sorry, folks.
Oh. Let's see.
There you go. Yeah.
Shit, I should have brought my harmonica.
You should have.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You both play harmonica.
It's downstairs. I totally could have gotten it. I can still get it.
It's up to you.
Yeah. I would get it, I don't care. But you gotta play something like this for me to play over.
And
I did it.
yeah.
You know what worked over everything? A spoon.
Nice. Good job.
Spoon in it.
Hell yeah.
So what was that, Trevor?
So that was a band called Farron Ensemble, and
Farong Ensemble, huh?
they're a Middle Eastern folk band that they play all over the world. They're pretty good.
You're a Middle Eastern folk band all over the world.
Thank you. But yeah, they go around and just play cool traditional stuff. So the album was called Fata Morgana. Sorry, my Arabic isn't that good, folks. So doing
Alright.
the best I can.
Well, it sounded good. How would you rate it?
If you're talking like,
Sounds like there's a lot of traditional folk music and kind of,
yeah.
you know.
So if I was to rate it like
tribal instruments.
Yeah, like an oud is the. So I was like, I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10 ouds, which is like the traditional guitar over there.
Okay, it's an oud party over here, folks.
party.
9 out of 10 ouds in the house.
This is 11-string instrument.
All right.
It's pretty awesome.
Dope. All right, so Trevor had a topic he wanted to bring up with me and Matt here. I guess it was cannabis, huh?
Cannabis.
What would you want to talk about, bro?
I mean,
What would you like to know? God damn it.
am I asking? Am I the moderator right now?
Yeah, dude.
Oh shit.
Get on it.
Do it.
Oh fuck. Here we go. Oh, the wolf blitzing the shit out of this. All right, sunglasses on.
All right. There's a crazy grunt.
All right. So what have you learned here, Chris, growing weed in Oregon, that maybe you could be beneficial for Matt growing weed over in Maine? Maybe he could tell you about something growing weed over there that could help you.
Sure.
Somehow.
Oregon's got really dope temperature for cannabis outdoor. I've kind of done when I was growing at the old job. Their indoor was really great, but something I realized is that it's very expensive, and indoor's a tough one. So if I was gonna have my own little grow out here, I'd probably run greenhouses and do light deprivation. Try to run it year round, heat up the plants as the year goes. But it's tough, man. I think it's tough anywhere running indoors. Electricity's not cheap. There's, always expenses when it comes to like fertilizer and things you need. But I love growing out here. When I was in Florida, I was just growing in a closet basically. I grew about 6 plants, and then I realized I was okay at it, and I wanted to get better. So I moved out here like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Started
good.
growing my own shit a few months ago, which it took me a few years to get back into it, but working at the couple farms I did and trimming a lot and kind of getting into the cannabis culture out here has been pretty dope, man. There's a lot of cool people.
Pun intended.
Yeah. It's there are some downsides, I think, but there are a lot more benefits in a state like Oregon than I think certain states that are going through it right now. I've never been to Maine. I don't really know what's up with Maine.
What is up with Maine?
I've heard they got a pretty
I don't know
cool.
what's up with Maine.
Yeah,
Shh, this guy.
he doesn't.
I just do my own thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty much what it is, man.
Is yours indoor? Or yours is outdoor?
I started inside and then I finished it outdoors.
It's pretty
Okay.
smart. You get light at the end.
Nice.
Yeah, and don't pay a shitload of money for electric bills.
Exactly.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah, you definitely saved in the last few months.
Yeah, I do.
And there's something really hard to replace with the natural sun. We've been trying for a long time to recreate it. We got lights that are really good in spectrum, but
Right.
just something that the sun has, vitamin-wise, plants and everything biologically just responds to it a lot better. No, it's tough. It's tough finding the greatest way to grow. But I love growing cannabis. Love smoking cannabis. It's something I love to do, and hopefully one day if I can show it to some other people. Yeah.
Matt, favorite strain. Let's go.
That's so hard.
What's your
Favorite strain?
What's
What
your
the
favorite
fuck
strain?
kind of question is
It's
that?
a great question.
No, it's not. That's a crazy question. There's
All right.
too many
I
strains.
used to like actually.
The one that
there
you
was one
still-
that I really liked was it was called Gorilla Princess,
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
and there's like different variations of it.
Excuse me.
And it was something that I smoked and something that I grew.
Oh, excuse
and
me.
something that I really appreciated. And like, but other than that,
Yeah.
So was it a
I'm
cross
gonna
of
have to say like, some skunk 2000 or some shit from the 90s.
Yeah. Like the
You know,
original,
some
man.
Skunk plant, you know,
He's
like
nice.
skunk number.
You get that
352,
original. You get
like,
that
you know,
original diesel. You know.
Right. They would just make up some names.
Yeah.
But there was the whole skunk thing. That
Yeah, the skunk train.
that
Yeah.
happened at one point.
Yeah. Everybody was skunking out.
Yeah.
Skunking up.
Yeah, I do remember that. That's pretty funny.
It was hilarious because when I moved out here,
Skunk train
I
was
went
funny.
back to Florida after they
What?
became medically
Terrible.
legal, and my brother was buying weed from the dispo, and it was hilarious because when I went down there, he showed me a bunch of weed he had gotten, and it was old California strains.
Oh.
It was like strains from California from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
had gotten a bunch of old strains from Cali pretty much and just moved them over to Florida when they got medical. And it was like Skywalker OG and a bunch of stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, what is this fucking blast from the past?
Damn.
Yeah, lemon haze. But yeah, no, it's interesting finding different strains in different areas.
Yeah.
It's always a thing, hunting strains.
Yeah, but some White Widow seeds.
Yeah, you had given me a couple of the Jamaican. That was pretty dope, man. Thank you.
I bought White Widow seeds, and only one of them sprouted.
Damn.
From that plant, I just pollinated it with some Jamaican seeds.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So that's where the Jamaican White Widow came from.
That's
What-
awesome.
What is White Widow? It's like some Netherlands strain with some
Sativa dominant.
with some Brazilian indica or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was like 20 years ago or something.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, let's, because I want to go backwards because they keep going.
They do keep crossing
Sometimes
over,
going
man.
backwards is like going
It's
forward.
better. Yeah.
In the sense of
Progression.
growing plants, like
Yeah.
trying to
Finding
go back
the
to
original
roots.
genetics.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That
that's
was
where
the
there's so
idea.
many different variations on the same plants, but like getting back to the mothers, you know, that's a difficult thing to do because the taste and the flavor profile is different every time you cross.
Right. And of all the stuff I've ever grown, that was the one strain that I grew that I've gotten the best feedback from everybody that I've given it to that smokes
Yeah.
weed. They're like, I like this. This is great.
Yeah. I handed out, because this was my first run that I got to do out here, I handed out a bunch of weed to people that had helped me out and stuff like that.
Right.
And one of them pressed it, and I just showed you that a little earlier. He said he got like, out of 3 grams, he got like a third of, or not a third, he got 3/4 of a gram. So it wasn't too bad, man. He got a little nice return on it. And I didn't even think of pressing any of my weed. I just wanted it for smoking and bud purposes.
Right.
But it's interesting because the world is working so much more towards resins and rosins and cartridges and all that stuff.
High tech hash.
It's a thing, man, and we're
Basically.
living in the weed future, so it's like to not even acknowledge that would be a mistake, you know.
Of course.
It's not what I like personally. I really do like to sit down and roll a joint.
Right.
You know, that is my thing personally.
Something a little
But
more basic.
exactly, but there's a ton of people that want to sit down after work and take a bunch of dabs. And
Right.
if you grow some great weed, you can have some great dabs if you pick and choose your times to harvest. That was something when I was working at the farm that was really dope. We were starting to get all of our fresh frozen going and bubble hash and press made. And that was a really interesting thing to see because I'd never seen live resin being made and kind of how that went. And it's just a whole new venture for me. I've always just wanted to grow the best weed I can, but
Right.
there's so many more elements
that-
to it.
As a grower, that really is only your responsibility. Like,
Exactly.
all that stuff is like a whole new world.
Yep.
It's like a whole nother group of people that
New market.
We don't need, like as growers, we don't need to take responsibility. The only responsibility they need to take is like to make sure that they give credit to where the strains came from, like
Exactly.
where the names came from, like so they know which grower made it, you know, whoever bred it. Or
100%. And that's something that's really fucked up in the weed game too, is there's a lot of people that'll claim strains that they didn't
Right.
fucking grow, they didn't
Right.
genetically hunt or nothing. They got a cut from somebody that was nice enough.
Yeah.
And they bred it a bunch of times, and I always hate that because that happens a lot in big distribution where they're like, oh, we have this exclusive cut and it's ours. You know, it's a fucked up way to do it.
What I really like I actually got to help grow was Platinum OG Kush,
Okay, yeah, Platinum OG.
and it smoked really well. Like it was give you a little bit of energy at first, and then you would just mellow out, and then you could
Speaking
just.
of like the old
Yeah.
skunk, like
Yeah.
I also really like the skunk name just because I started smoking weed a little later. For me, it was like the mid 2000s, like 05, 06, around then.
right.
But that's when I started, and it was still early enough. It was like all the fucking skunk ones, and it was when
I love that stuff.
yeah. And I remember going to parking lots with guys and like under bridges and shit, and we would exchange money
Trevor
for bags
lives a
of them.
slight troll life under bridges.
Yeah. So we would show up and they would be like, "Hey, just bring a knife with you," and you're like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then you're just sitting in this car, and it gets exchanged real quick, and you're like in a McDonald's parking lot, and then you have to leave. And you're like, "Oh shit."
That's
Oh man, I'm glad nothing went bad. It would have been interesting.
That's
Yeah.
the thing about old strains that were available. Like for example, I had like before 9/11,
Yeah.
Yeah.
used to be able to get like, I'm sure I made it out here too. It was like this hash, and it was called like Cobra Stamp hash.
Ah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
It
I've
was
heard
from
of that.
Morocco,
Yep.
right?
Oh
and
shit.
Before 9/11, you could
You
always
can get it.
But once 9/11 happened,
They
Oh,
didn't
that's
allow
shit.
the hash to come in
it
like
was
that.
totally like,
Yeah.
nope.
He's just from the Middle
But
East.
that hash was like,
Top.
if you couldn't get real good weed, it didn't matter if you had that hash.
Yeah.
Like no matter, and we had that on the East
What's it
Coast.
called
like,
again?
before
Morocco?
kind of
Morocco Cobra.
We had that.
Damn,
stuff. It was
I
like
never
a
got to
stamp pressed, really hard fucking hash.
Yeah, it was a brick.
And it'd like have like you would know it was real if it had a little bit of gold from the gold print.
Yeah.
Like it would have a gold fucking
Damn.
gold
Yeah.
thing on.
That's
on
something
it.
that people sleep on in Afghanistan and fucking Iran and like Kazakhstan, all those countries. They make a ton of hash.
Oh,
they
yeah.
make
Crazy.
so much fucking hash.
do.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen pictures. They had this one, and it was like Time magazine, but it was weed, you know. And it was a guy that was just a hash brick maker, and he had 2 or 3 rooms in his house just stacked to the ceiling with bricks of hash.
Yeah.
And I mean, it must have been like 4 or 5 years worth of hash, but a lifetime's worth, you know, a couple times over.
Imagine if you ever got raided. Like that's crazy.
Don't matter anymore.
Nah, it's a different
No,
world.
it's not worth enough anymore.
No.
The value went down.
And the quality of the hash after so long, and its exposure to the oxygen in the room and stuff.
They would coat it.
Yeah,
Wax.
yeah, they do
Damn.
some preserving for sure. But this dude just was sitting on so much hash, it was stupid.
That's
The
crazy.
greatest strains that I grew in the last couple of years were we had a great cut of Dosi, and we had a great cut of ice cream cake that came from Capricorn.
Okay.
The Dosi was a house strain that they had forever.
Is
I don't
that
think
like
they're
Dosey
ever.
Dough?
Yeah,
Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Or it's like
Yeah.
related.
it's same shit.
Same branch of the
it-
tree. And the cannabis.
It was just one of those weird plants that it always dumped a ton of really hard rocky nugs and really triked out. And in the last 3 or 4 weeks, it would turn purple, or dark gray. And the ice cream cake was just beautiful. It had these really dense, hard, nice colas that went throughout the whole plant, and it was this beautiful purple, really frosty looking stuff. Those are the 2 best strains I've actually come across out here that I liked to smoke as much. But yeah, that's what I got.
It's good.
Yeah, man. All right,
Could
you
you
about
hand
ready
me
to
the
wrap this
guitar?
up, Trevor?
Matt, could you hand me the guitar,
What?
please?
What's the matter now?
He needs his guitar. He needs to play us out, bro.
I told you,
We're
man.
about that
It
time.
was very stony.
Yeah. Can you hand me that guitar, bro?
All right.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Well, that was fun.
It's awesome having you here, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem.
Yeah,
man.
it
We'll
was
have to get
It's,
you back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
worth the time.
Definitely worth a little bit of time.
All right. Cool.
All right. Thanks again to our guest, Matt. Insert last name here. Trevor Ahlstrom.
Whoop, whoop.
Always a pleasure. And I'm Chris Evans. It's been Two Lonely Boys in a Canoe. We'll see you next time.
Have more stuff uploaded later. Out.